Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Oh, I'm on? I didn't hear, the beep sounded odd. Sorry. I'm sorry for what must have been dead air.
That's usually my gag.
Yeah. I heard the sort of, hi, Suze. I heard the kind of little, the beep did not sound like it normally does. It sounded like, I thought, we're going to have a show where technically we're screwed up. But here we are, Susan and me. It's a Tuesday. It's January 19th, and tomorrow is the day we've all been waiting for, kind of, sort of, anxious about, and all
eager
of that.
For, and anxious.
Really. Anxious.
Yeah. Well, anxious about, but I am truly eager to step over, to jump over the broom, as it were, and get on with our lives.
Well, I don't think that tomorrow's going to be the restart that we necessarily
Oh, I know,
want.
Of course not, because we've been left with such a, I just started the morning with the same conversation that I have had with our mother, which is, Susan, you are keeping track of when I'm supposed to sign up for because she's reading the newspaper and she's in the vaccine.
Yeah.
And I had just finished reading in my survey of newspapers, and I was reading in my hometown St. Louis newspaper about how 173,000 people had signed up and had appointments for vaccines in St. Louis County. Of course, they only had 875 doses.
Yeah, right. So, just generally, this is being handled really badly.
So I don't understand the messaging here, because the messaging itself is creating the next problem and the next bottleneck by suggesting that there's something you have to do in order to make sure that you get yours as fast as possible. This is crazy, guys. We need to just sit down and wait for there to be sufficient vaccine, which, if we don't keep tripping each other and throwing each other out of the lifeboats, will happen sooner rather than later. So let's just stop it. We're adding to our own stress and anxiety. We all know the truth. There isn't vaccine. So stop trying to kill yourself to get it the next week or two. You'll get it the next month or two. Hold on to that idea. Okay? I just needed to say that. I don't understand why any of the people in charge can't give a clear message.
Well, I think the people at the state and local level can't give a clear message because they're not getting a clear message, since the federal government has been screwing this up from day one and leaving all of this to, I know it ends up getting into the hands of this hospital here, this drugstore there, and then they're supposed to figure out how.
Right, and why does this provider get more than that provider, and how are these decisions being made? I understand there's all of that, but I'm more basic than that. I don't know why we're saying we're opening up vaccinations to the next group. No, you aren't. You don't have vaccine.
Well, I know in Pennsylvania we have not been told that the next group.
Well, I'm just saying that if people are hearing these messages, they put pictures up of lines in Florida to get vaccine. I haven't seen that anyplace else, I have to say. No. So it makes you wonder how come Florida got.
No, I've seen that in California too. Every state is doing it differently. It is, as usual, American chaos because we didn't have a federal response.
Well, okay, I'm just begging for some clear messaging and leading with the real message.
Don't hold your breath.
The real message is we don't have vaccine right now. When we do, we'll be clearly calling your group.
Yeah, exactly.
How hard is that?
Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting for my doctor to let me know that they've got it. For me, people have got to. Yeah, you're right. Ditto. Calm down. Everybody,
calm down.
The elbows flying is again making us
right. The nightclub is not on fire, and you don't have to get out of the exit door before there's 10 people in front of you. So just keep doing what you're doing. Try and figure out what the facts are among all of the drivel. And let's get on to, other things that we can do something about. But this is just driving me crazy. And it's driving me crazy because I got people calling me right and left, all believing like there's something I'm to do to help myself, to help my mother, no.
All right, Suze, calm down now.
All right, I'm just saying.
You're pretty high up there in terms of, for the show, it was just beginning.
I know.
You can't imagine
nice? And it's just about vaccines. And I mean, it's not even about Arizona and Bonebart or whatever her name is.
Bobert?
I refuse to learn her name.
I don't know. Giving reconnaissance, She
had the shirtwaists and black pumps.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, if you think things are chaotic in your life and out here, can you imagine right now? Let's all try to be capable of empathy. Put yourself in the shoes
of the people at the White House.
Yeah, at the White House staff right now. I mean, I cannot even begin to imagine. Actually, tomorrow at this time.
Well, they're going to spend the night at Blair. They aren't moving in. They aren't even asking to do that. They're spending the night at Blair House. I think it's already.
No, they're spending the night at Blair House
the night before. Oh, tonight.
No, they'll move in on. That's the way it happens.
You know how the Trumps famously demanded new toilets. I would too.
No, listen, stop it. You don't want to sit on his toilet. Yeah. Well, you don't want to be any. Yeah, I know, but it's just no. They're gonna.
People that are worried about them, sleeping on the same bed. I have to in my little Jewish mother heart. I have to believe that they changed the mattresses between presidential families.
Well, the fact is that families can move their own things in, and so a lot of families bring their own beds. They do. They want their own furniture. Apparently, the Carters were one of the few in modern times who pretty much didn't bring a damn thing, and so all of that stuff can all be supplied, but the amazing logistics of having everything belonging to the Trumps out of there by the time the Bidens move in that same day, and having the Biden stuff in so that when they return to the White House tomorrow, it will feel like they're home somehow. Now, what's gotten in the way of this is, of course, the Trumps' refusal to
the petulant behavior of the first family.
Yeah. So even though the Obamas were so gracious to them, Michelle meeting with Melania.
There's this picture that I just watched about a half an hour ago of that time. And Trump marches up the steps and grabs Michelle by the arms on each side and kisses her in the European style. And I'm thinking, you have said the most disgusting things about her publicly at that point, and she has to stand there like a big girl and let you kiss her?
Yeah. What I don't get, though, is they say that all these moving vans are already showing up at Mar-a-Lago. And
I saw them moving out of, they've showed vans moving out of the White House last
No,
week.
I know, but what about that, the fact
What about
that
they're not allowed to live at Mar-a-Lago? I don't know. Maybe they're going to squat.
I don't know, because technically that is not supposed to be their residence. And
it's
that
not technically at all. It's legally on 7 different fronts.
Yeah. So I don't get that. But normally, the first lady would introduce the incoming first lady to the staff that she'll have. They have not met any of the people in the White House. Normally, presidents leaving have really sort of emotional goodbyes to the people who have taken care of them. That is not expected with the Trumps, because they just look at they don't probably even know their names.
You think Trump is going to leave Biden a letter? If he does, it'll probably just say, fuck you.
Fuck you, yeah.
Fuck you, I won.
And another little weird note is that the guy in charge of all this is the chief usher of the White House. And when Trump came in, he got rid of the chief usher, which is usually a position that goes from administration to administration. Who was ever the chief usher with Obama was not for Trump. Trump instead got the guy who was running, I don't know what position exactly he had at his hotel in Washington, at the Trump Hotel, director of rooms at the Trump Hotel. So he brings this guy over, which was very odd. I mean, at the time, people said, what? Usually the chief usher actually has a military background. This guy was coming from the Trump administration, Trump organization, although he has said that the first time he ever met Trump was at the White House, that he had never met Trump, even though he had worked in one of his hotels. But this poor guy now really loves this job, wants to keep it, and is making clear to anybody who will listen to him that he is not a Trump loyalist. And even though he hired a whole bunch of other people from Trump hotels to come in and be White House staff, I don't know that I'd want those people around.
No,
I don't think so.
I'd go looking for all the people he fired and hire them back.
Whatever. I just can't imagine anyone who's ever moved, and most of us have more than once, knows what a what a difficult thing that is. And you got to figure this is think of all the rules.
I would think that this is a very difficult move for everybody, but the people being moved. It's all being done for them. So,
right.
And if you consider that, if you had 4 people to do the whole house, but you got hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got 5 people each doing one room,
Not to set you off again, Susan, but Ed just sent me something that I'm gonna relay. I'm gonna relay this, but just to just listen.
Deep breath. I got it, Ed.
Okay, so the Starbucks CEO guy.
Yeah, I know they offered to help logistics.
Well, he told NBC, I just did the math and figured out at this rate of vaccination, it's going to take 6, 7, 8 years for the country to get vaccinated.
Right.
This is from NPR this morning. Ken Burns looked back to see that in 1947, New York City inoculated its entire population against chickenpox in 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, it's not that it can't be done. It's that we have people in charge who are inept as hell. I mean,
if it's not even inept, I think we had people in charge that, for God knows what reason,
trying to kill us.
purposefully trying to bollocks up the works. And that's all. So no, I'm not angry. I know that. So I'm just pleading with people not for us not to make the situation worse.
Yeah.
Let's not create bottlenecks. Let's not go rushing off to point A and then to point B and then
well,
to
there was
point
an
B.
article. Yeah, there was an article in the paper the other day, local paper, about some pharmacist here who has the doses and is giving them to frontline people. And he says his phone does not stop. His phone has been ringing off the hook. This is one pharmacist. And how's he supposed to get anything done? He's actually hired somebody just to answer his phone.
Well, just imagine, right? Just imagine this in every single doctor's office and hospital. But
exactly.
If everybody is calling 6 times a day, put me on the list. I want to be on there. Don't do that. You're signing up for nothing.
And then you hear stories. Well, let's not start on this. I don't want to because
you brought me back. I'm just asking everybody to be calm. That is really what I'm asking.
But be calm as she screams at the top of her lungs. Now. Yeah. Be calm. Why can't you people be calm?
As I strap on my boxing gloves.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, so anyway, hey guys, I have to tell people this, and I hope nobody's annoyed, but you'll all understand. I decided last night I'm not going to do a show tomorrow.
You're just okay.
Because I want to watch TV. I want to watch everything unfold.
I think we all should. I think we should all be sitting there, with Xanax and popcorn.
Have a little popcorn,
maybe a little bit more Xanax,
whatever. Don't want a drink. I know it's early, but want a little popcorn.
All bets are off. I like Betty White, who famously on her 98th birthday yesterday said, "I can 98, 99. I can stay up as late as I want and do what I." I think tomorrow all bets are off. We just I pray we all live from the beginning of it all the way through to the next day.
Yeah. You remember when? No, I don't want to talk about it. Let's just sort of. I just guys, I want to avoid. We'll get to some of the heavier stuff, but right at the moment, there's a few stories that have crossed my eyes, and hang on though. Before we move on, I've got some emails I should share. I think. Henry writes, I saw a piece last night on CNN about president moving out, moving into the White House presidents. They actually talked about mattresses. Okay, Susan. And as you would expect, yes, they do change out the mattresses.
Right.
The Bidens are sleeping in the same bedroom. Oh, my God. But Donald and Melania did not.
Right.
Yes.
They had separate bedrooms.
Yes.
Quelle surprise. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's shocking. I am so surprised. Okay. Henry also says, they also said that the White House is being prepared with, COVID guidelines very specifically. Basically, the residence has been already can't have been disinfected. The Trumps are still in there. I would say that pandemic or not, I would disinfect the place after pandemic or not.
Right. Which has nothing to do with the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. And the White House will have dogs.
You never know where the president's at his hands,
Oh, God. Roger writes, aren't you looking forward to boring? It won't be, Roger. Boring.
But yes, we are.
President. Yes, we are. Yeah. It is my understanding, Roger says, that 3 weeks after our second vaccination, we should be, as individuals, fairly safe from the virus. You'll be safe from the virus, not fairly safe. These vaccines are unbelievable. You cannot then transmit it to others. That's another bunch of bullshit, okay? I'm serious. So if double vaccinated individuals walk around the world without masks, we might still be able to spread the virus, but only those. No.
They don't know for
cannot
sure.
say for sure, but never has there been a virus of this efficacy, this level of efficacy.
A vaccine of this level of efficacy.
Thank you, Susan. That doesn't then prevent the vaccinated person from giving the virus to somebody else. So that this would have to be so unbelievably.
They're just talking about if somebody with COVID sneezes on a vaccinated person, and then you walk into a room with an unvaccinated person, and a gust of wind blows the virus off of you and onto that person. Well, I suppose you could spread it. Okay.
Yeah,
What they are really saying is they haven't done the research on it yet. That's really
because there's not time. There's not time to do it.
There's not time. But I mean, that's why you have to read for content.
Yeah, the real fear, apparently, why they're saying once you get vaccinated, still wear your mask, social distance, you can hug your grandchildren again, you can eat dinner with people. Certain things will get easier, but keep doing all the sort of, they're saying that because they worry about a lot of, every time you go out now, people are wearing masks, unless you live in Trump country, I suppose. I mean, I don't see anyone who doesn't have a mask.
Right. They're worried about civil.
They're worried about people who haven't been vaccinated, seeing all these now unmasked people, thinking, "Oh, I can now take my mask off." That's what it is. You are not going to be a danger.
You know what? Well, here's the thing. We've had the lowest flu season ever because people are, doing the things that would also control other things. So just protect yourself when you're out and about. Wear a mask. Big deal. We should probably do it anyway.
Yeah. You know what? What did I say? That the level of flu this year is 98% below.
Right.
The level of. So if every flu season, we pretty much did the
mask
math, the flu's gone. And I think every winter I am definitely in public going.
Well, they do this everywhere, but
not everywhere, but certainly in Asia they do.
They do, and it's a sign of politeness.
Well, it's a sign of being respectful to other people.
Right.
So have you heard about the guy? This is just such an odd story. There's a poor guy now. He's in jail in Chicago. And the poor soul. He was here on a visa from India, and then I guess his visa ran out. He's 36 years old, and he was flying home to India, and he got from California to O'Hare, and then somehow at O'Hare he got cold feet. He got scared about going to India, which at the time was said to be, like a really not.
He was terrified of COVID. Be clear.
Yeah, terrified of COVID, right? So he just stayed in O'Hare and managed to live at O'Hare Airport
in a secure area. That's where he went wrong.
For 3 months, in between a Cinnabon and a shoe shine stand. For 3 months, this poor guy was there, scared to go home. And he survived on food given to him. He started lecturing other travelers on Buddhism and Hinduism, and thought that he started to believe that that's really what he was supposed to be doing. Sounds like he went a little bit nuts. Poor soul. And everybody who knows him says he is the kindest, sweetest soul. And he finally got nabbed, and he's in the Cook County jail now and going to appear in court in a few weeks. And poor guy who's so afraid of COVID is now in jail.
Right. It's just,
And for that matter, how, if he's so afraid of COVID, would he think being in an airport one of the busiest airports, even now in the world, would be a good idea.
We've already agreed that he wasn't of sound mind.
Poor guy. He spent 3 months living at O'Hare in between a Cinnabon.
You would think that somebody could take
shoeshine
judicial
stand.
notice of,
Yeah.
and not put him in jail.
I also want to note that we in Pennsylvania are losing in this consequential time our health secretary, because Joe Biden went and plucked her to be the assistant secretary of health for the nation. And that woman is Rachel Levine.
Yeah.
And she will be the first transgender person at that level in
government.
In the federal government. And that's pretty amazing. Pennsylvania, we got to go looking. We got to go looking for somebody now.
Yeah,
we don't have
people have been quitting in droves. Good luck with that. because the fine citizens of the United States have been threatening them for being health professionals.
True. So I saw this. This has nothing to do with anything, and I'm not really all that interested. But you know how the world is so different in so many ways, and technology, has a lot to do with it. That often I will see a headline, and I will not comprehend what the story is or what it's about. And here was the headline, okay? Massive blackouts have hit Iran. The government
mining Bitcoin
is blaming Bitcoin mining. And I thought, what?
I thought of you when I read that. I said, Lynn's going to understand this one for sure.
I thought, wait a minute, those Bitcoin, which I don't even understand, is I know there's a little coin that you do get, and I remember reading somewhere where there is some kind of metal in it that is unusual. So I'm assuming they mean mining, like mining, but that's not what I did finally read it. Well, since you're laughing at me, do you want to explain how Bitcoin mining can cause massive blackouts?
Well,
okay, here's what it is.
The whole thing's virtual, so everybody's online using up all of the bandwidth of the whole country is what I'm figuring. What is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Blackouts are not new in Iran, blah, 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 blah. But Bitcoin mining, there's something called cryptocurrency farms. And there's a lot of them apparently located in Iran. And that is where you use a whole bunch of computers to verify these transactions made by digital coins like Bitcoin. And apparently it creates such a drain on the electrical grid, I guess, from all the computers that they're using up, they're sapping the country dry with non-existent money, doing very existent financial transactions like, funding revolutions, perhaps the one that's starting in the United States. Well, actually, speaking of the one in the United States, I think we better look also to Russia, because do you know Parler, where all the insurrectionists met up and planned? They've given them a platform. Parler is back up. It is back online, and that is thanks to the Russians. Well, can I say something? Good. I'd rather have them out in the open and stupidly followable than not. Well, right. As somebody that I was reading said, well, this is good because it actually gives us the ability to surveil and target these jerks. Right. However, to get on Parler. So now Parler is now routed through servers in Russia. But that means for Russian intelligence as well, that's a gold mine, because they now have the capacity to really, first of all, apparently to get on Parler, you have to give your social security number and all kinds of other stuff. So every American who's on there is just going to be totally in the hands of the Russians, which seems perfectly right, since this whole Trump phenomenon has been a Russian-run operation.
Right. It has been about
the Russians
traitors
taking our
and
country.
treason, and so openly that it's just sort of mind-boggling. The wolf didn't even have to put on sheep's clothing. It just said, "Hi, I'm the wolf. Want to come play?"
Yeah. So I saw something, and it brought back so many memories. This jerk, your senator from Missouri, Josh Hawley. Is that how it's pronounced? Hawley or Howley? Hawley.
Hawley, actually.
Hawley?
Yeah, Josh Hawley.
Josh Hawley. I for some reason have trouble
like
with that.
Haul. Hawley.
Hawley. I have trouble with that diphthong. You know, that ow.
Yeah, it's Hawley.
That stems from when I went to acting school, and you know that old. You were supposed to become Hawaiian. Now, brown cow. And I never passed How Now Brown Cow. They said, no, I couldn't. It's something like, and they had me, you should have seen my face. I dropped my jaw down to, how, that's better. How, now, and never got it. Because where I came from, it was How Now Brown Cow.
How Now Brown Cow.
And I thought I'd gotten rid of that since I said How Now Brown Cow, which doesn't sound bad to me, but to the speech instructor at the neighborhood playhouse, it was like chalk on a blackboard. It was like, oh my God! And I never could get it. So anyway, turns out, Simon & Schuster said, we ain't going to publish your book, you jerk.
Right.
And he cried and howled, his First Amendment rights.
First Amendment rights.
Which is bull.
Well, which he as a lawyer from Yale should know that your First Amendment rights are in relation to the federal government and suppression thereof, not a private company.
Well, he knows that.
That's what I just said.
He's pandering to the crowd. He's pandering to his crowd.
I know, so I insist on educating the crowd every chance.
Okay, so here. So it turns out, and I was so unsurprised to see that another publishing house has said, we'd be more than happy.
Well, of course.
And that is the publishing house that publishes and has for 70 years, published every insurrectionist, every right-wing lunatic, and continues to do so. It's based in Chicago, and it's called Regnery Publishing. Now, here's the thing. When I worked at as a legal secretary in Madison, Wisconsin, for Melly Shields, Walker and Pease, that was the firm.
Sounds like some sort of Spanish stew.
Melly Shields, Walker and Pease. By the way, Pease was the only nice guy in the place. I just adored Mr. Pease. But
I used to work for Lowenhoff, Chasnoff, Freeman. No, Lowenhoff, Chasnoff, Freeman, Holland, and Mellitz.
Bunch of Jews.
Yeah.
So, no Jews at this one, I assure you. Melly, Shields, Walker, and Pease, they were right-wingers, they were union busters, and I was a legal secretary there. Oh, my God. So, one of the more noxious attorneys on the staff, who was not a partner, was this little wet behind the ears. I don't think he was much older than me, probably was 2 years older than I was at the time, was a guy named Al Regnery. And I later, when I started thinking Regnery Publishing, Regnery, I thought, I wonder if well, it turns out, yeah, Al Regnery is the son of the founder of Regnery Publishing. And Al Regnery went on, and we both left Melly Shields, Walker and Pease sort of around the same time. He went on to become this, he pulled, he pretty much runs Regnery now. And so he was the most loathsome character, even in his youth. And shortly after, I'm not sure if he had just left, I was now a television reporter in Madison, and he ran for district attorney and got clobbered. During that campaign, his wife reported that they were getting threatening phone calls. And Regnery couldn't stop screaming about it. The left is after me. I am being, he publicized it. This was a big part of his campaign. The police got involved. And the Regnery said that his wife had actually been forced to have sexual relations with men who had broken into their home. It kept getting worse, threatening phone calls.
She'd been raped?
Yes. Oh, yes. She'd been raped by multiple men.
Yes. Interesting. Okay.
So the Madison cops, obviously this is now pretty extraordinary.
Well, right.
They look into it. They could find not one scintilla of evidence that anything the Regnerys were saying was true. The only thing they found was a stash of pornography in the Regnerys' home.
Well, again, what a surprise.
And this guy now is the one, he publishes all the books, all of the Fox News hosts' books, every vile, Regnery published Joe McCarthy, they published Father Coughlin, no they didn't, not Father Coughlin, they published every horrible anti-democratic, and I don't mean Democratic Party, anti-democratic right-wing person in the universe. The Regnerys have been doing it. And to think I labored for this jerk. Ugh. But isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Ugh. Ugh. Okay. So I had to get that.
We need to keep our eyes on Hawley because
he's Adolf Hitler wannabe.
Well, no, he's even worse because he is smart. He's handsome. He looks good in his suit, and he is clearly totally without any shred of morality or thing that you would want guiding someone.
Obviously not. Obviously not. So, Brooke has, Susan, given your Xanax and popcorn menu for watching the inauguration. Brooke says that actually she had come up with a menu before, and they're going to be eating food from the states that turned from red to blue.
So cheese curds and
well, now wait, let's see what we got.
steak.
Well, here's what she's got. From Pennsylvania, yes, cheesesteaks. Cheesesteaks, Georgia peach pie, Wisconsin cheddar cheese, Michigan Detroit style pizza, And Arizona, she says, we didn't know what to buy for Arizona, so we got a case of champagne. Oh, God. That is great.
That's
great.
very cute. I mean, people are,
doing what they got to do.
They're figuring out ways to entertain themselves. That's very nice.
Yeah. Okay, what else I got here? I'm trying to.
Have you watched? See, while you're going through your stuff, I'm just going to ask you a, sisterly kind of question. Have you watched the Fran Lebowitz stuff?
No, I haven't. She annoys me a little bit. So but I will. Should I?
Yeah, you should, because she'll just make you laugh.
She will?
Yeah.
I mean, she's like this sort of classic look down her nose at everybody person, and I don't like that.
No. She even addresses that about her snobbery.
Well, she is. She's
she
classic liberal elitist snob.
She says, I do not. She says, am I a snob? Do I, not in the classic sense, I don't look down on people because of who their parents are or where they went to school. She said, I simply look down on people that don't agree with me. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
you will just sit there and go, oh, okay.
Okay. Well, now for somebody who wants more serious fare, I do have a recommendation, and it's One Night in Miami, which is, oh God, what's her name? Who was Regina?
Oh, King.
King, which is her directorial debut, and it is a.
Oh, that's the one with Ali.
Fictionalized account of something that actually did happen after Ali first became. He was still Cassius Clay, and he'd won the heavyweight championship by knocking out Sonny Liston. And he spent, after the fight, Malcolm X had him and Jim Brown, the football player
who had become an actor.
Who had just started that transition of becoming an actor, and the singer Sam Cooke. Those were the four guys, and they were in that hotel room. And so this is nobody knows exactly, but it's a fictionalized account of the conversation. And it is, it's very good. It's serious, but it is very, very good. And I think, God, the guy who plays Ali is just amazing. I mean, just amazing. Okay, I noted in terms of an obit, I did note also, back to Madison, Wisconsin, a woman, an extraordinary woman, who was the first female Chief Justice of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and her name was Shirley Abrahamson. And I met her a few times. She died
a while ago.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. She died in Berkeley. I don't know. She was in Berkeley. She was there with her son.
Mm-hmm.
But she was on the short list for the Supreme Court seat that went to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And she and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were pals. And Ginsburg spoke at her, I think, her retirement ceremony when she left. She was pretty much sort of kicked off the court. She was sworn in when she became the Chief Justice by William Rehnquist, who was then the Chief Justice of the United States. I don't think that's always what happens. I don't think state Chief Justices are necessarily sworn in by the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. But he came to Madison to do that. And when it was over, it was a Sunday, she turned to the people that were there and said, "It is my prerogative as the state's new Chief Justice to begin with a momentous announcement. The Packers and Vikings are tied.
They're going into overtime.
Yeah, right. Don't worry, you're going to be home in time for the second half." Oh, God. So they actually passed. This is when, this is in the when the conservative Republicans took over Wisconsin. They actually managed to pass a constitutional amendment when Walker was the governor, that took away her right to continue serving as the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice had always been the most senior member on the court. And God knows there wasn't anybody more senior than she. I mean, she'd been on the court for a million years by then.
I think at least 3 decades.
And she'd been Chief Justice, since 1996. So this is 2015. And they wanted her out of there so bad they couldn't see straight because she was a great, great liberal. And they got that constitutional amendment passed, and she was booted by the Republicans that had been managed to, be put on the court.
Well, yeah, the Wisconsin court is a political court. It is
totally.
People run to be on the Supreme Court, which I just find appalling.
Yeah.
But okay.
So anyway, I wanted to note her past. She was a great woman. Could have been on the Supreme Court of the United States, but very happily, Ruth Bader Ginsburg did just fine in her stead. Beth writes, "I'm excited about tomorrow and most concerned about the inauguration. Yeah, I hope that Biden tells Nancy not to attend." Well, she'll be there. If something happens, God forbid, we do not need a President Pompeo. Is the Secretary of State? Well, but it would be the
yeah, he's out.
He'd be out. And it would be this guy named Blinken would be the Secretary of State.
Nod's taking over commerce.
Who? What?
You said Blinken. I'm thinking Winken and
Nod is taking commerce. Winken, Blinken, and Nod. But it's getting. But the dangers to Biden and Pelosi will not end if they survive the inauguration tomorrow.
We're back to being terrified all the time.
We are a nation essentially at war with ourselves. These people wanted a civil war. Well, we've got one. We are in the grip again of terrorists. And,
yep. And I had an epiphany, Lynn. I know why we kept Guantanamo.
To put them in it.
To put the American Taliban in it.
Well, that's a good idea.
Let them talk amongst themselves there. I figured that out this morning right before I called you. That's why we couldn't quite get rid of that. And now we've got something to do with it.
Yeah.
Put right back for terrorists, our own.
Well, the scary thing about the scary thing, though, is that the way these people, this will now be this ingrained grievance, bigger than Ruby Ridge, bigger than all of the, ones before it that animated this, these right-wingers in the past. And now we have this derangement of them. They're living in an entirely different reality. So much so, and I'm not talking about necessarily all the ones that are totally nuts and would resort to violence. The latest poll taken yesterday shows that 73% of people who are Republicans believe that there was widespread voting fraud, and thus that Joe Biden is really an illegitimate president. 73% of the Republicans.
Yeah, but I would like to point out that you don't know what that number means. Who still identifies as a Republican? I mean, I read this morning that in Arizona, right after January 6th, 5,000 registered Republicans in Arizona dropped their affiliation.
Well, I know that's happening.
So
but
when they say 73% of the people that are willing to still call themselves Republicans, that number is drastically reduced.
I don't think drastically is the right adverb. I don't. I mean, I don't know. When you listen to these people, here's who we're fighting. This woman here's a woman who's quoted in an article in the Times. She's a wreck. She's like hysterical. And she says that she had read on Facebook that the Biden administration was going to take children away from their parents. And she said, I am in a total state of, I don't know what is happening. And I'm thinking, did she not see the Trump administration take children away from their parents? What? They are insane. They are insane. I suppose they think they're going to take their children away from them and put them in, internment camps to be
re-educated. Well, not a bad idea.
Yeah. And she said, I can't fathom what my country is becoming. I just sit here in tears. I'm crying all the time. So as scared as we are on our side, they're in their delusion as frightened on theirs. And here's another quote. I believe in a world where force has to be used to stop evil. And that's what they think
Democrats are.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, then there's the father that went to the insurrection and threatened to murder his children
his own kids.
If they turned him in, because then they would be traitors. So his wife turned him in.
Yeah. Well, the good news is actually there are a number of cases of children turning in their parents.
Children have waited decades, generations, centuries to have good cause to call the cops and turn in their parents. This is a boon for children.
Really. So, I was thinking of these fools, these dangerous, dangerous fools who think of themselves as patriots. Crusaders and patriots, right? Because they're Christian soldiers.
Yes, yeah.
And they think they're somehow taking on, this totalitarian communists or something. And then you look at this Navalny in Russia.
Right, going back.
This is, I'm thinking, the contrast between a true patriot, a courageous man, willing to go right back in to the lion's den after he knows they want him dead, and he goes back. He is a patriot fighting totalitarians. And the contrast between these clowns in all their get-ups and gear.
Yeah, what is it with the costumes? I mean, honest to Pete.
Well, I don't know.
it reminds me of me, when I was a young mom and wanted a cute tennis outfit, but I didn't want to pay the price of having to play the sport. I mean, it's all about the get up.
Right. So here's another thing. The Pentagon now apparently is exceedingly concerned about.
Yeah, they got about 26,000 soldiers before the inauguration.
Well,
you'd think they could vaccinate them at the same time.
I don't know. The military is got to be full of, because who is attracted to positions where you get to have guns and have this power and a lot of the people that are drawn to like law enforcement for the wrong reasons and the military for the wrong reasons, there's just got to be tons of them. We know there's just tons of them. They're infiltrated all through our law enforcement.
Well, they've
through the FBI.
Haven't you felt like there's been an article every 2 months of a murder at Fort Bragg?
Oh gosh, Fort Bragg, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
It just keeps happening so, there's clearly a problem that has been festering for a very long time. And yeah, they ought to look. They should have looked a long time ago.
Well, I think at Fort Bragg, a number of people in positions of authority were relieved of their command. I'm not sure about that, but I think.
Yeah, but it hasn't stopped.
Well, no, that's not going to stop it. It has to stop at the recruitment level, and then it has to stop with who are the next level, who are the people with power in that hierarchy who oversee,
or who are the people that don't simply pick up. That you have to be able to pick up the cues that someone is not responding normally, in terms of what they're learning and how they apply it. There are cues if you're willing to see them, and if you see them as an issue. The problem is if there's a culture where the cues are part of the culture.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see this part, Beth. I'll let that on. I didn't know she went to Chatham. And she says, I have much pride in my Chatham sister, Chatham University, right a few blocks from my house, and my Chatham sister, Muriel Bowser, mayor of D.C.
Yeah.
She came up here to Chatham? That's interesting. Okay, so I had this epiphany. Who Josh Hawley is, thinking that he would be the Republican standard bearer in 2024. And Cruz thought the same thing, and they were jockeying for their base. Never was a word more applicable.
More accurate, right.
Yeah, their base. And I'm thinking if the party manages to somehow rid itself of the more noxious, obvious members, and are able to nominate somebody who they think has a good shot, who they want? Nikki Haley.
Yeah, of course.
Right, Nikki Haley. Now stop and think. 2024.
Nikki Haley versus Kamala Harris. That's what they're doing.
Exactly. Nikki Haley versus Kamala Harris. And stop and think of that. That would be, historic in that you have two women, but it ain't just two women. It's two
women of color.
Women of color, women of Indian heritage, and women whose parents were immigrants to the country. So I think, and Nikki Haley is dangerous.
Yeah, she is.
She's because she appears to be.
More moderate than she is.
Exactly. Thanks for finishing my sentences.
You pause as if searching, so I just fill it right in.
Well, thank you. Because I do so appreciate that.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm not irritating the crap out of you.
No, if you get it right, it irritates me if you get it wrong, but you got that right. It was absolutely right. Okay, so guys, I think we're done. And again, I want to say, forgive me, but I don't want to be babbling here for an hour when, this historic day is unfolding tomorrow. So let's just call the show off. I'll be back on Thursday, okay?
Okay, fine with me, Lynn.
All right, well, thank you. I do appreciate it. I really, really do.
Okay.
So let's all keep our fingers crossed, and but we're in for a rough time. This is going to be really rough.
I know, but let's all fold hands, metaphorically speaking, of course, and step right into our futures.
That's right. That's right. Suze, thanks very much. Go punch somebody.
That's what I'm going to do.
And I'm going to enjoy the fact that I see some blue sky out there. I've been oh my God, it's unbelievable. Okay, talk to you guys on Thursday. Okay, I got a feeling we'll have a lot to talk about. Bye-bye. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.